Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday evening. We are going to be going over Genesis 7 and half of Genesis 8. So, very excited as usual. And thank you for watching. I hope this video blesses you. I hope that you learned some, and I hope that you just feel the love of God always. And if you would like to join our women's Bible study group, we meet Wednesday nights at usually around 5:30. We're doing a little bit later tonight, but we just meet on Facebook Live. It's only for women, all ages, but only women. And so we start out in prayer, and then we do our Facebook Live, and then we end the live, and then we do our praise reports, prayer requests, and just have our women's fellowship. So it's really important to have fellowship, but I'm really happy you're watching, if you're watching here. So I guess we're just going to dive right in. So this evening we are going to be going over the flood. Last week we studied angels, demons, giants, and the ark. Okay, so if you guys remember, giants are the product of human women and fallen angels procreating, right? And then disembodied spirits are what remains after the death of these giants and hybrids, leaving evil entities that essentially roam the earth, right? And wreak havoc and all that. So, so this evening we're going to be going over the flood, and I want to reiterate what I was trying to get across last study, is that at the Tower of Babel, which I will read you the scripture for here in a second, but at the Tower of Babel, men had come together and were building this tower that was supposed to reach to the heavens to worship their false little g gods and to make a name for themselves. And at this time, there was only one language, okay? Only one. So God saw this, them building the tower, and he confused all of their languages and scattered them across the earth. Okay, so can we see how this could give the name or names of these deities, these entities, these little g gods that they were worshiping, a whole bunch of different names for the same deities? Can we see that? Can we kind of see how that, they had one language, one name, they all got scattered, now it's all in different, and hi Sissy, it's all in different languages, and so now you have same deities, different names, okay, and that's why you get all the Greek names and all the, like we went over last week, got all those different names, okay, and they're essentially the same evil entities, evil spirits that have been here since the beginning of time, okay. So, and so here's the scripture for that. It's Genesis 11, 1 through 9. And, okay, so verse 11, and the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime they had for mortar. Slime. And they said, go to, let us build a city and a tower, whose top may reach to unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men builded. And the Lord said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. So, okay, go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Okay, therefore is the name of it called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth. From thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of the earth. Okay, so I hope that clears up any confusion if you had any. And with that being said, let's go ahead and jump on into Genesis 7. Okay, Genesis 7. And I want to preface by saying, so we're going to be speaking about the flood, okay? So I wanted to preface by saying that the flood that God brought upon the earth was a worldwide flood, okay? Not just a regional or localized flood. This was all living was destroyed in the flood, all flesh, everything, okay? Destroyed. So Genesis 7 verse 1. And the Lord said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee I have seen righteous before me in this generation. Okay, so we have right here, come. So that's an invitation that God offers to everyone, okay? And come, so it's also used in Matthew 11:28. It says, Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. So what is rest in Hebrew? We learned this multiple times. So rest in Hebrew is Noah. Noah's name means rest. So come to me and I will give you Noah. I will give you rest, okay? So, let's see, okay. So this is also the call that God gave John in Revelation chapter 4:1. Come up hither and I will shew thee things which must be hereafter. Okay. And then, and so, come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee I have seen righteous before me in this generation. So righteous. Noah being righteous and perfect in his generations does not mean that he was sinless. Okay, but he dealt with his sins righteously, and he was obedient, and he had a direct relationship with God. Okay. And then, let's see. We're going to go on to verse 2. Oh yeah, and remember, it was Noah, his wife, and Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and their wives. So 8 people that were on the ark. And we've been learning about numbers holding significance, and the number 8 is the number of new beginnings, resurrection, and regeneration. So the number 8. Okay, so that's one to, I think we already went over number 8, but that's a good one to add to our little list that we're adding up now. Let's see. So and then God said unto Noah. So this means that God talked to Noah, right? He talked to him. Just like what before I said God walked with man, he actually walked with man, right? And I mean, man, I wish God walked with, he does, but to be in the whole presence of God, like, gosh, I don't wish I was Noah, but I wish I was in the full presence of God. But one day, soon, very soon. Okay, so let's move on to verse 2. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by sevens, the male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by 2, the male and his female. Okay, so clean is first mentioned in Genesis 8:20 relating to sacrifice. Then it's later mentioned in Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14 dealing with eating. Okay, so the clean beasts are taken by the sevens for sacrifices, right? So of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by sevens may mean 7 pairs or 3 pairs plus 1, with the extra one being used for sacrifice later on. Okay, and in Hebrew is 7 sevens. Okay, that's what it is in Hebrew. So moving on to verse 3. Of fowls also of the air by sevens, the male and the female, to keep seed alive upon the face of all of the earth. So fowls, birds, could also be used as a sacrifice. So I was under the impression that it had to be only cows, sheep, goats, like big animals. But it says here that fowls were taken by sevens. So verse 4, for yet 7 days, so for yet means in 7 days, okay? For yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and every living substance that I have made I will destroy from off of the face of the earth. Okay, so they were in the ark for 7 days before the flood actually even occurred. Wild, right? Yeah, I know. I don't feel like I would be okay with that. I'd be like, hey, where's the flood, you know? And it says right here too, so I'll cause the rain upon the earth for 40 days and 40 nights, and every living substance I have made will I destroy off the face of the earth. So it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. Verse 5, and Noah did according unto all that the Lord had commanded him. So Noah was obedient and he had faith, right? Noah had never seen rain before. He didn't even know what rain was. But God tells him to build this ginormous ark. He tells him he has 120 years to build it. Tells him in great detail exactly how to build it. And then tells him to bring 2 of every animal, plants, food, etc., and 7s for clean animals. And so there's Noah out in his driveway building this boat, essentially for the water that's going to fall from the sky, even though they never had seen rain, right? And it's going to kill everyone except you and your family, right? That's what Noah is told. Okay, so what does Noah do? He builds the ark. Talk about faith and obedience, right? Never seeing rain and I mean, but he walked with God, so you know he had a relationship with him and he trusted him. But could you guys even imagine the backlash that Noah got from the unbelievers? Like 120 years Noah's out building this ark, right? And what is that? It kind of sounds like today. Like us believers are being obedient. We're warning everyone of the wrath of God that is to come, but people are just mocking us and making a laughing stock out of us. You know, we're being obedient. We're telling, you know, we're sharing the gospel. We're saying, hey, there's a wrath that's about to come, you know, and just know Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. Accept Him. Be obedient. We're being the whistleblowers, right? And it sometimes feels like no one's listening. So I can kind of relate to Noah. Not even on the mount, like on the level of what he must have gone through, but it is a lot like today. Okay, now verse 6. And Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters was upon the earth. Verse 7. And Noah went in, and his sons, and his wife, and his sons' wives with him into the ark because of the waters of the flood. Verse 8. Of clean beasts, and of beasts that are not clean, and of fowls, and of everything that creepeth upon the earth, there went in 2 and 2 unto Noah into the ark, the male and female, as God has commanded Noah. Right? So God supernaturally brought the animals, the insects, etc. to Noah. And I don't know if you saw last video, but I was thinking about, I just had this picture in my mind of, you know, they're about to get on the ark. And maybe it's like 2 days out, right? And then you just hear loud movement coming from the forest and from the sky and all these. And so it's like, what an amazing sight like a blessing and an honor. Like God told you that this was going to happen, and it happens. And lions and tigers and bears, oh my. No, I'm just kidding. But I would feel so humbled and so blessed and just so grateful. So that's it. That's really cool. But so verse 7. Oh no, sorry. Okay, so verse 10. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were upon the earth. So after 7 days, the waters came. That means that Noah and his family were in the ark for 7 days before anything happened. And so I honestly don't know why they were in there for 7 days. I'm not sure, but God knows, and God's ways are higher than our ways. So I'm sure there was, I'm sure there was a reason. But we know. Yeah, we're gonna keep reading. Okay, so verse 11. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all of the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. Okay, and then I'm trying to follow my notes because I have them all over the place. Okay, so like I said before, until this time no rain had fallen on the earth, but it was watered by a mist, which is spoken about in Genesis 2:5-6. And this description of the first rain portrays a thundering, catastrophic event accompanied by violent upheaval of the earth's crust and geysers of water bursting from the depths. The violence and the amount of water involved are more than enough to account for many peculiarities of the Earth's surface, such as the formation of the Grand Canyon. The flood also explains the enormous quantity of fossilized remains of plants, animals, and shellfish that are buried in layers of rock over the entire surface of the earth and even on the tops of the mountains. So not only rain, but waters coming forth from below, the fountains of the deep, right? And from above. So we remember when we were going when we learned about the firmament, right? God separated the waters from the waters, and right, and so we're in the middle, and there's waters above and there's waters below. So it was waters are coming down from heaven or from the sky, not from the sky, right, or the heavens, and then the waters coming up from the ground. So this is a massive. This isn't just rain and thunder. This is a massive, and like I said before, this is a worldwide flood, not localized to one little region, or like this was all of the earth. Okay, so let's see. Genesis 1:7-9, and God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. Okay, and then let's see it. So verse 12, and the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. Okay, so in verse 13, in the self same day entered Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them into the ark. Okay, so I wanted to say that before going through Genesis, I was under the impression that it rained for 40 days and 40 nights, and it was a done deal, and they got off. But we're going to learn how long they were actually on this ark. It was not 40 days and 40 nights. It was a lot longer than that, okay? But we're going to hold off on that. I wanted to go, since we're talking about Noah, Shem, and Ham, and Japheth, right? The sons of Noah. I wanted to go over that. So we have Noah and his wife, Shem and his wife, Ham and his wife, Japheth and his wife make 8 people on the ark, right? So I ran out of room. I got all of Shem and Japheth except for the Japheth's last 4 sons, and then I couldn't fit. Ham has 4 sons as well, but I'll explain all of this. So Noah, being called out, was given grace from God through faith and obedience. Noah, his wife, and 3 sons were the last trace of Adam's bloodline, which was not tainted by the angelic incursion, which brought forth the corruption of all flesh upon the earth. Noah's sons' wives through the Bible though the Bible gives little info about them, other extra-canonical books like the Book of Jubilees gives more info as to their names and also the cities from which their husbands named after them. Now the nations of the world all stem back to the genealogy of Noah's 3 sons. As the table of nations in Genesis 10 outlines the 70 distinct nations which make up the world we know today. Shem making up 26 nations. So Shem makes up 26 nations and his descendants. Okay. Are the peoples of the Middle East, including the ancestors of Abraham and the Semitic line of Israel. Okay. So peoples of the Middle East. And then we have Shem's 5 sons. The first one is Elam, which is Arabia. The second is Ashur, which is Assyria. The third son is Lud, which is Lydians. The fourth one is Aram, which is Aramaic, Armenia, Mesopotamia, and Syria. And the 5th son was Arphaxad, from which Abraham descended. Okay, so this genealogy having no traces of the giant bloodlines. Okay. Now Japheth, right here, let's see, where's Japheth? Japheth makes up 14 nations and descendants, and he's associated with northern and western coastal peoples and adjacent islands. Japheth's 7 sons include one, I don't know if that's Havan or Javan, but that's Greece, Roman French, Italians, Spanish, Portuguese. Okay, the second son is Magog, which is the, I don't know how to say that, Scythians, Slavs, Russians, Bulgarians, Bohemians, Poles, Slovaks, and Croatians. His third son, Madai, Indians and Iranic, Medes, Persians, Afghans, and Kurds. His fourth son, Tubal, was south of the Black Sea. Tiras was Thracians, Teutons, Germans, Scandinavian, Anglo-Saxon, and Jutes. His 6th son, Meshech, was Russia. And then his 7th son, Gomer, was Celtic. And then Japheth's genealogy had included giant bloodlines, okay? And then Ham making up 30 nations and descendants associated with the western and southwestern peoples. Ham's descendants, Canaan, also being cursed of Noah for Ham's defilement. This Canaanite race not existing as a nation today, okay? So Ham's race is not existing as a nation today. Ham's sons include Mizraim, which is Egypt, Cush, Sudan, and Ethiopia, Put, which is the Sidonians, the Perizzites, and the Zemarites. These ites, all being descendant bloodlines from the Nephilim before the flood, making up the Raphaim or Raphites, dwelling in the land of Canaan. These pre-flood these Raphaim being a part of the second incursion of the angelic bloodline, which makes up the gods of the pre-flood world, usher in their continued rule over the kingdoms of heaven as these entities and their fathers continue in their efforts to destroy man from the earth, ultimately leading to what we have today as the elite and the rulers that are movers and shakers of the world, both the visible, physical offspring and invisible ones, principalities and powers and angelic fathers. Ruling over the slave class of the cursed and fallen state of man. This mystical and secretive religious system ruling the world today through the secret sciences, secret schools, and secret societies. Okay? I think I meant to say these mystical and secret. I said this. It's okay. So I hope that all makes sense. I just wanted to give you guys, I don't know much about geography, so I would have to look at a map and like see, but I know that some of you guys do know, and it's good information to know too. Like I was talking about last lesson about how they look different, and they, which line did you come from? Anyway, so we're going to keep going on, moving forward. Let's see. Okay. So, verse 14. They and every beast after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, every bird of every sort. That was speaking about, because the verse before was talking about them entering in the ark. So they and every beast entered into the ark, okay? Now, verse 15, and they went in unto Noah into the ark, 2 and 2 of all flesh, wherein is the breath of life. Verse 16, and they that went in male and female of all flesh, as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. Okay, so this is where I'd be pretty okay with the 7 days in the ark, like before the flood, the 7 waiting day period, because like if God shut the door, I'd be like, okay, well, what happens, sissy? It's okay. Now I just see you, your beautiful face. That's perfect. So yeah, God shutting the door to me would be like, okay, like we're good. God shut it. We're just waiting, But God shutting him in so God was preserving Noah and his family, right? That shut door was a symbol of closure, protection, safety, and God's deliverance. So when we just learned in verse 10 that the rain didn't start for 7 days, yeah, like I said, I put myself in that situation and I was freaking out. Let's see. Verse 17, and the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased and bare up the ark, and it was lift above the earth. Verse 18, and the waters prevailed and were increased greatly upon the earth, and the ark went upon the face of the waters. So we're floating now, y'all. And it wasn't a boat with like a motor. It was more of like I can't think of I think he said, oh my gosh, if I mess this up, I'll fix it in the comments, but I think he said it's a barge. So it's a big floating box, basically. And I wanted to say too, last week I said, I meant to say that a millstone be put around your neck. Like if you're to harm a child, a millstone would be around your neck and take you to the bottom of the sea. And I said shekels or shackles because I goofed up. And so I'm fixing that right now. Okay, you guys. Sometimes words just pop in my head and I'm like, yeah, that's the right word. And it's totally not. But anyway, and the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth, and all the high hills that were under the whole heaven were covered. Verse 20, 15 cubits upward. So 15 cubits is about 22.5 feet. 15 cubits upward did the waters prevail, and the mountains were covered. So the water level was about 22.5 feet higher than the highest mountain. Okay, so for sure, no sign of life. Verse 21, and all flesh died that moved upon the earth, both of fowl and of cattle and of beast and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, and every man. Verse 22, all in whose nostrils was the breath of life, of all that was in the dry land died. Very sad thing. But they were wicked. Verse 23, and every living substance was destroyed, which was upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle, and the creeping things, and the fowl of the heaven, and they were destroyed from the earth, and Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark. Okay. Verse 24, and the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. Okay, so this is where we're starting to add on time in the ark, okay? So, so I want to move the camera so y'all can see. Let me see. We're going to move this one. I think you guys can see it right there perfectly. Okay. And then for you, my love, put you right here. I think you should be able to see me. Okay. Let me see. So where do I need to stand? I need to stand right here. Okay. So, you know what? Okay, yeah, that's actually the end of chapter 7. So I'm going to, we're going to go over, I'm just going to do this on the board because I have it all up here. Well, actually, okay. So verse 4, okay, let's start up here. So chapter 7, verse 4, they get on the ark, right? The flood begins on the 7th day. It rains for 40 days and 40 nights. Okay, verse 25, waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. Okay, now we're in chapter 8, verse 4. After 150 days, the ark rested upon the mountains of Ararat. Verse 5. Waters decreased continually until the 10th month. Okay, so over here is where I did the math. So 7 days plus 40 days. So 7 days, 40 days is 1 month and 10 days. Plus 150 days is 5 months. So now we're at 6 months and 17 days, right? And then we fast forward, and so after 150 days, the ark rested upon the mountains of Ararat. Waters decreased continually until the 10th month, okay? Then we have, after 40 days, Noah sent forth a raven. So we're adding 40 days. He also sent forth a dove. That's an extra 7 days. Okay, so does anyone know why Noah would send forth a dove? What do you think he was trying to do? You know, Darian? No? So he was let's see, I think it explains it in, oh, that's what I missed. Okay. I'm so sorry. Let me go back. Okay. Okay, so we're going to read Genesis 8 because that's what goes with this. That's what was confusing me. I'm sorry. So, okay, so then we read in Genesis chapter 8 that the ark rested in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, upon the mountains of Ararat. Right? And now we're going to go on to Genesis 8, 1 through 14. And God remembered Noah and every living thing and all the cattle that was with him in the ark. And God made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters assuaged. Verse 2, the fountains also of the deep and the windows of heaven were stopped, and the rain from heaven was restrained. And the waters returned from off the earth continually, and after the end of the 150 days, the waters were abated. And the ark rested in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, upon the mountains of Ararat. Verse 5, and the waters decreased continually until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the 1st day of the month, were the tops of the mountains seen. Verse 6, and it came to pass at the end of 40 days that Noah opened the window of the ark which he had made, and he sent forth a raven which went forth to and fro until the waters were dried up from off of the earth. So a bird needs somewhere to land, right? So if you send out a raven or a dove, any type of bird, well, even messenger birds, right? If it comes back to you, it means that she didn't have any place to land her feet, right? So verse 7, and he sent forth a raven which went forth to and fro until the waters were dried up from off the earth. Verse 8, he sent forth a dove from him to see if the waters were abated from off of the face of the ground. Okay, verse 9. But the dove found no rest for the sole of her foot, and she returned unto him into the ark. For the waters were on the face of the whole earth. Then he put forth his hand and took her and pulled her in unto him into the ark. I love birds. I'm just getting so like warm, fuzzy feelings. Just like having a bird in your hand. I love it. I love chickens. Verse 10, and he stayed yet another 7 days, and again he sent forth the dove out of the ark. Verse 11, and the dove came in to him in the evening, and lo, in her mouth was an olive leaf, pluck it off. So Noah knew that the waters were abated from off the earth. That would be exciting. Like, I would kiss that bird for sure. Verse 12, and he stayed yet another 7 days, and sent forth the dove, which returned not again unto him any more. Okay, so she found her place. I know. My heart. And then, verse 13, and it came to pass in the 601st year, in the 1st month, the 1st day of the month, the waters were dried up from off the earth, and Noah removed the covering of the ark, and looked, and behold, the face of the ground was dry. Verse 14, and in the 2nd month, on the 27th day of the month, was the earth dried. Okay, so from beginning to end, the whole flood event lasted 1 year. Okay, and that's where we got our math over here. I'm sorry, I went out of order, but I did all the math, and they were there for it was actually over a year. I think it was 377 days, but it was absolutely a year. Okay, so yeah, we kind of went over this. So the dove found no rest for her feet. She returns to the ark, right? After 7 days, Noah sends the dove forth again. So now we're at 11 months and 24 days. The dove returns with an olive leaf plucked off. Then verse 12, Noah stayed another 7 days and sent out the dove once again. And then the dove did not return, right? That was my question. So how long was Noah and his family on the ark? Let's do some math. So here's our math, okay? 12 months. That's a long time. And, to think about it too, we have to think about the mindset of what must have been going through Noah and his family's minds. The uncertainty, what is it even going to be like when we get out? Everyone we knew is gone, right? Everything is gone. So, that's why I like digging deep into these Bible studies, is to really think about, what I like to put myself in their shoes and think, the feelings that they must have been feeling. And I'm sure they were obviously so grateful, and they had an amazing relationship with God. So that's very reassuring. But I mean, I would have a little bit of survivor's guilt, you know, and like I said, it's the uncertainty of it all, just not knowing what it's even going to be like when we get off, you know, and so it's pretty wild to think about. And the weight of knowing that only you and your family survived. Okay. So then that was actually the end of my notes because I wanted to stop in Genesis 8 verse 14. I was just going to do Genesis 7, but then I wanted to add these to let you guys know exactly how long they were on the ark because it was a really long time. And then we went over the ark. Let me see if I can move this. We went over the ark last time, all of the dimensions. I can go over that again really quick because I think we're doing okay on time. Let me move all the cameras. Okay. So the ark was 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, 45 feet high, 95,700 square feet, had 3 decks. Here's the decks. Oh, and I didn't get to show you guys that last time, so I'm going to show you guys. So, here's a little picture I printed out. But so it says, deck 1 was the bird storage. Deck 2 was food storage. And then deck 3 was the animal storage. Okay, so that's pretty interesting. And so, put this back. Let me see. I need a cameraman, y'all. I need a professional. I'm not the professional with the cameras. Okay. But so I had 3 decks, was about 1,400,000 cubic feet, weighed 13,960 tons. It was equal to 522 standard railroad stock cars. It could carry 125,000 sheep, and it was the size of an oil tanker. Oil tankers are really big, y'all. Like really, really big. So this thing was massive. And then we went over last week to the types of Christ. So remember, Jesus is the ark. So the ark is a type of Christ because it offers salvation, safety from divine judgment, and refuge, right? And we went over to Noah, who ballasted men in his boat of salvation in the midst of the divine wrath on mankind and renewed creation. So these are all the types of Christs, right? And we will keep adding to them as we go on. But I think that about sums up all of our study for chapter 7 and half of chapter 8. So I really hope this blesses you, and if you have any questions or you want to join the group, just read. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong camera. I'm sorry. I was looking at Darian. I'm like, did you want to join my group? I think I'm inviting her over for a play date. I'm sorry, guys. In all honesty, if you want to join our women's Bible study group, we would love to have you. And thank you so much for watching. And always please keep me in your prayers for the oomph and the courage and the strength, and for my nerves, and just that the Lord just keeps lighting this fire underneath me, because I love doing these. I thought that God was chasing after other people's hearts when I started this, and he's really chasing after mine. So it's really sweet. It's very precious. I'm the type of person, I have to read something 3 times, write it 3 times, say it 3 times. I have to do all the things for it even to maybe stick. And so this has just been a major blessing for me. And everyone who's messaged me or told me in person, or I see you in the store and you guys are watching the videos, like, I literally get in my car or wherever I'm at and I just cry. Like, I cry happy tears. I'm like, thank you, Lord, for this honor and this blessing, and I just pray that I can get this word out accurately and be 100% true to the word, which is why we go verse by verse. And so I'm going to end it there. I love you guys. You guys have a wonderful week, And I will see you guys next time. Mwah.